I haven't mailed this yet, or, you know, oh my gosh, I forgot to get this for Kennedy, or, you know, just like all the silly things, right? But so just trying to, I want you to imagine this being like a time to kind of like quiet out the noise of the external and everyone else, and kind of all that energy, and just really making some space for yourself. Just kind of meet yourself and kind of drop into whatever it is that is showing up for you. So that's what we'll do today. So we're gonna do some timed holds. We'll do some movement, and some of the timed holds will be movement, but I'm gonna really let that be that seeping time. So kind of think about like seeping a tea bag. Like the more you seep, right, the more flavor there is. So really allow that to let you sink in deeper layers of the body, and deeper layers of just like that presence, right? That when we stay still and we stay within something, right, we can really fine tune our awareness. So we'll work on that today too. So, okay, you guys, grab a spray of choice. Give yourself a spritz. Take some deep breaths. Welcome yourself into your yoga bubble. And so really take a moment to close your eyes and to kind of form this safe space, whether you kind of imagine it being like your yoga cave or your yoga oasis. Like really take the time to set that up. So really allowing yourself to distance yourself perhaps from anything in the external world. So being expectations, requests, decisions that have to be made, tasks that need to be done. Like really give yourself permission to say, for an hour, I'm just tuning out the noise, the activity. I'm gonna turn the volume down on that and turn the volume up on my inner self. So my inner wisdom, my emotional health, my mental health, my physical health. And I'm gonna really just hone in on that. Turn that volume up as to what it is that's going on within me. So take some deep breaths and create that space. And every time your mind or something comes up that brings you back to the external, just allow yourself to say, this is my space. I'm tuning out the noise for just a little bit. So almost like you can imagine like writing it on the chalkboard for later. Take a moment to create that space for yourself. And then as you're there, meeting yourself, just notice when you first just close your eyes and tune in the first thing that you notice. It could be thoughts or emotions or sensation. Just notice what's there right away. And sometimes I notice within myself, there can be like nothing there when I first drop in, because I've been in such a go mode or a activity mode that I'm not even heightened in my sensation to tune into those more subtle things. So be patient if nothing comes. And just open up the space for that to happen in its own timing. Let's take some open mouth exhales to kind of sigh out energy or just kind of anything of the day that you're ready to release. So take a deep breath in and hold at the top. And then just sigh it out. And maybe you're naming what you're sighing, and maybe you're just sighing. And then another deep breath in. And then a sigh. And then one more. And then rub your hands together. And then just bow your head down towards your heart. And again, cup over your eye sockets with the heel of your hands. And allow that to soften your eyes. So that as we practice today, you can have a soft gaze. And that can even be eyes closed. That's a really great way to go inward, is to close your eyes and take out that stimulation of the visual field. And then just keep the eyes closed, but release the hands for a moment and just let your eyes rest back a little bit further. Bringing your hands to meet at your heart. Form an intention for your practice today. And maybe it's just simply that, to quiet the noise and to tune into you. Take a deep breath into that intention. On the top of your inhale, lift your arms up, stretch from the root of your body to the top of your head, and then exhale, turn the hands out and send your intention outward to your yoga space, your yoga bubble, your yoga sanctuary. And then exhale, one more sigh. And then we're gonna start to move. So we're gonna come to standing at the top of the mat. You might want some blocks here at the top. And just coming to stand in Tadasana, so go ahead and separate your feet to whatever degree you need to. And take a moment just to stand tall. So I'm gonna advise to close your eyes as much as you can. So go ahead and close your eyes when you're ready and allow yourself to feel your roots. So feel from the hips all the way down to the feet. Feel how your feet contact the mat. So feel the inner arches, the outer arches, your toes. Feel if there's an even weight between your right and your left. Like really sink into this feeling of standing with full awareness. Take another couple breaths. Just kind of feeling yourself aligned, standing tall. And then on the inhale, stretch your arms all the way up. And then kind of lifting up, so feeling a little bit of lightness in the lumbar. Let your neck be long, reach to the sides of your waist. Kind of feel the ribs lift. Let the shoulders kind of elevate a bit. Keep feeling the root of your feet and the strength of your spine and the core muscles as you lengthen. Take a few more breaths. And keeping that presence really inwardly focused on sensation or emotions or even just watching thoughts, that can work. And then on the exhale, we'll take a forward fold. And it can be onto your blocks if that's helpful. So feel free to sway or just to, again, find stillness. Notice what you need today. Sometimes it's nice to move and sometimes it's nice to settle. So maybe the knees are bent. Maybe the knees start to straighten over time. Keep feeling those feet and keep letting your neck elongate. And then just start to breathe a little deeper. Maybe those sighs happen whenever you notice the thought that wants to bring you back to the external world to plan or to review the past or to peer into the future. Just again, repeating like I'm making space for myself. There's time for me. Then take another deep breath in and then bend those knees and articulate a roll all the way up to standing. And then we'll kind of synchronize what we've done and add on. So on the inhale breath, sweep your arms up. And on the exhale breath, forward fold. Now come to a halfway lift. And again, you can use blocks here, or you can soften the knees a bit. But elongate the spine, broaden across the chest, pull your shoulders on your back. Make sure the weight's kind of evenly spaced between heels and ball mounds so you can still feel that Tadasana feel, almost like a half plank in your chest. And take 5 more breaths, long neck. Inward focus, maybe the eyes are soft or closed altogether. And then you're going to bend those knees and roll all the way up. A full inhale into Tadasana. Full exhale, find those feet. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold again, exhale. And this time if you want to step on your feet, you can, and press your toes towards your wrist crease, or you can grab peace fingers around the toes and fold in, pulling your elbows apart. Or you can just do the same fold we did. And just softening here, feeling again your second kind of visit to this forward bend. Maybe the knees are straighter, but they may not be. Let yourself just settle and inwardly focus. I'm making space for me. There's plenty of time for me. Sighs can come at any point that you want to dissipate energy or release thoughts, plans, reflections. Let's take one more deep breath. And then loosen your hands or your feet. If you're touching, bend the knees and roll up. And then a full round of breath in Tadasana. So long spine, proud chest. And on your next inhale, the arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Long spine inhale. Back to a forward fold. Step your right leg back and come to a low lunge. You can bring your blocks down if you want. And for the first few moments, just let your hips settle into your first lunge. So if you need to readjust, you can have the blocks here for your hands so you can lift your chest. Shoulders are back and down. And I'm just kind of using my blocks to kind of lift up out of my low back. Letting the hips soften. Go ahead and close your eyes here so you can feel yourself kind of drop in. So that front shin is releasing forward. That right hip kind of widens a bit as you reach back into your right foot. Take another deep breath in. And on this next exhale, we're going to tuck the toes under and we're going to inhale, the arms come up, high lunge. And then exhale, we'll drop down to that right knee. Then we'll inhale, come up. Exhale, dropping down to that knee. And you're just going to continue like this for about, 5 or 6 more times, syncing it up with your breath. So high lunge, press to the front heel, the back arch. Use that core, feel your roots lift. And then feeling that slow descent to settle. 2 more. You can always just be kind of pulsing a high lunge if this is better for your knees. You can kind of just stay here. And on this next one, we'll take the hands forward and we'll step and fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold, bend the knees and roll up. Arms stretch up. Exhale, forward fold. Long spine, inhale. Back to that forward fold. Right leg back, same lunge, inhale, come up. And on the exhale, step into plank, and then we're going to hold your plank. So breathe in here, and again, you can put your knees down if you need to. Neck is long, feel your core activate. So lengthen through the tailbone. Kind of feel that core start to really turn on, and we're going to do some pelvic tilts here. So you're going to let your pelvis tip forward, and then you're going to pull the pelvis to tuck under. So you're kind of feeling that kind of core work at the lower pelvis. Your shoulders aren't moving. So it's a mini little ab curl. So you bring your ribs and hips to meet, and then you just relax that. It's like doing cat-cow without your hips lifting. They're just rotating. And use your breath. Kind of feel this wake up, a deeper part of your stability muscles in your hips. Okay, here we go. Hold that plank. And then you're just going to step the left leg forward and then step the right leg forward and fold. Bend your knees, roll all the way up. Inhale up. Exhale, forward fold. Long spine, inhale. Step the right leg back, lunge. It can be a high lunge or a low lunge. You're choosing. Inhale for a full breath. Exhale to root. Inhale, press your hands down and come into a full breath on your plank. And then we're going to drop to the knees and we're going to hold Chaturanga. So we're not going to hold as long as we have been, but broaden through your chest. If you want to hold with your knees up, you can. We're going to take 5 more breaths. Just do the best you can. Chest proud, do that same kind of curl where you have your tailbone long. Ribs to hips, take another deep breath. And then press up to plank. Left leg steps forward, lunge. Right leg steps forward, fold. Bend your knees, roll up. Arms stretch up. Exhale, fold. Long spine. Fold on your exhale. Right leg back, high or low lunge. It's the same leg, you're just deciding. Full breath in. Exhale to ground. Hands to the mat, plank pose. Exhale, Chaturanga, all the way to your belly, and then it's going to be Cobra. So take your time, so we're going to hold here. Top of the feet, press. Your pubic bone pushes down, your belly is strong, pull the hands back, and we're going to hold here for 10 to 15 breaths. So the shoulders are on your back. It can be a low Cobra, chest is proud, shoulders and elbows draw down, and I feel the strength of my feet and the levity of my heart lifting out of the core. And it can be low, keep your neck long, and again, keep the inward focus. So when you start to get distracted or just exhale it out and refocus. There's plenty of time for me. I'm worth the time to tune inward. Take another deep breath in, and then exhale it all the way down. You can curl your toes under, press back to plank, and then again, left leg forward, right leg forward, fold. Long spine, inhale, exhale, fold, all the way up to standing, and then back down, fold. Long spine, inhale, exhale, fold. Right leg back, lunge, full breath in, full breath out. Hands to the mat, plank pose. Chaturanga, just an easy Cobra, and then downward facing dog. First time we're gonna hold. So you can use your blocks if you want under your hands, otherwise you can just have your hands normal, and again, settle into downward dog for a moment. Let your neck drop, the back of your neck lengthen. You can always bend the knees to continue to lengthen the low back. And again, let yourself settle like you're sipping tea. Let yourself start to really invite in the subtleties of your mood, the type of thoughts that run through your mind, the ideas that might float by. All the things that when we tune inward and tune out the noise, those things begin to speak and have a louder voice. Take another deep breath in and another deep breath out. Step your right leg forward, lunge, and hold here. So you can use hands on blocks. Kind of turn that left thigh out a bit so that you can unload the right leg a bit. Keep firm into your left inner thigh as you pull the right outer hip back. We've been working on this. Maybe there's a pressing up out of the hands so that you can feel that length of your spine. You should feel two strong legs underneath you. Settle into that sensation as you start to kind of let the legs start to cook a little bit more. Kind of noticing where there is a lack of sensation. So maybe there's a little bit more awareness of how maybe the left glute can turn on, or the left hamstring. Maybe there's a way to kind of shift your pelvis to kind of de-escalate any tension in the hip crease. Maybe the neck can soften. 2 more breaths. Then we step and fold. Halfway lift. Fold on in. Stretch all the way up. And then hands to meet at the heart before we go to the left side. So just kind of tuning in and noticing overall what shifted in your body. What can you be aware of now that you weren't aware of in the very beginning of class? It's just interesting when we tune inward, when we slow down. What becomes more aware and awake? And then we start again. Inhale, stretch those arms up. Lengthen, lengthen. The back of the neck, lengthen. Feel your whole spine stretch. And then exhale, a slow forward fold. See an extra breath or two here. Really letting the lower back stretch and lengthen. Halfway lift, hands can come to blocks. Take an extra couple breaths here to really lengthen out from the pelvis to the spine, to the neck, and then a fold. Step your left leg back to lunge. And then set your left knee down, bring the hands back. And again, for this first little bit, we're just gonna let the hips settle. So adjust if you need to. And I like the blocks when I'm holding for a while, because again, I can push into the blocks and lift a bit. That right shin releases forward. And as the left hip turns out just a bit, I can start to release from the left inner groin to the left inner foot. Then let your attention be inwardly, either at your emotions, your thoughts, your body, or just the overall awareness of you in this moment. Let that breath be that invitation to right now. There's plenty of time for me. I'm worth tuning inward. Then as we're ready, we're going to tuck that toe under and we're going to lift up high lunge. Remember, you can just pulse if going to your knee does not work. Exhale, calm down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Few more. Exhale anytime you need it. This time as you exhale, the hands will come down and forward and you'll step and fold. Halfway lift, forward fold, then rolling all the way up. Stand in Tadasana, take a little time out just to recollect. And then arms stretch up. Exhale, forward fold. Long spine. Step that left leg back, lunge either way. So that's high lunge or low lunge, you choose. Full breath in, full breath out. Hands down, plank pose. So before we did the pelvic tilts, now we're going to do a little bit of twisting and turning. So think about making a rainbow. Like you're going to drop the left hip to the floor, then you're going to drop the right. Shoulders stay undisturbed. And you're just kind of letting your body twist. So feeling that side of your core start to energize. If you need to bend your knees, you can do that. If that's not too much for your knees, or just hold regular plank too, okay? So stay with it. Let's do one more on each side. And then back to plank, right leg forward, lunge, left leg. Halfway lift, forward fold, all the way up to standing, forward fold. Halfway lift, fold, left leg back. Lunge, either high lunge, low lunge, just a full breath. And then on the exhale, hands to the mat, plank pose, just for a breath, and we hold Chaturanga. So come forward, bend your knees if you need to. Let's try for 6 or 7 breaths. So again, keep your core active, just like we did in all that core work. Chest is proud, shoulders on your back. Stay present here, even when it's challenging. Stay with it. So that you can consciously make the choice to come out if you need to. Press back to plank, right leg forward, lunge. Stay here, and then exhale, forward fold. Rolling up, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Left leg back. Lunge, full breath, anywhere you want. Low lunge, high lunge. And then we go to plank. Then we go to Chaturanga. All the way to your belly, and then we're going to hold Cobra. And so if you want to kind of jazz up your Cobra, you can either lift the legs, or you could hover the hands. Or it can be a moving Cobra. Inhale, exhale. So you decide. But we're going to be here for a little bit, so either you're moving and dynamic, or you're holding. But legs are plugged in really strong, chest is proud, core is active, and you're with yourself. Giving the posture as a chance to unite you with different parts of your body, different parts of yourself that show up. Last few breaths. As you're ready, lower down. Keep your knees down if you need to. Tuck toes, plank. Right leg forward. Left leg forward, fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. All the way up, inhale. All the way down, exhale. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Left leg back. Lunge of choice, high or low. Inhale, breath. Exhale, down. Plank pose. Chaturanga. Cobra. Downward facing dog. So this is where we'll hold. So I'll give you the option to a wider leg down dog if you prefer. Let the neck settle down. The palate relax. Okay, one more breath. Then it's going to be the left leg that will step forward. And then the right leg will step forward to fold. Roll all the way up. All the way down, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold. Left leg back, lunge of choice. Full breath in. Full breath out. Plank pose. Chaturanga. Cobra. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Left leg forward, lunge to hold. So I'm going to bring my blocks with me. And again, I'm going to really work on lifting and illuminating the energy of the back of my right leg. So it's firm I'm feeling that firm lift and that stretch to the inner right thigh. And I can press up and away. I can come to my fingertips, but I'm going to allow some time and space to feel what's happening within my inner body. Even places that feel bound up or held. But I'm focusing inward and just staying in my own presence, tuning out the noise of everything else, creating space and time for me. And then step and fold, top of your mat. Bend your knees, roll all the way up, then hands to me at the heart. We'll do one full time of flow, and then we'll do some other timed hold. So as you're ready, inhale, the arms come up. Exhale, forward fold. Long spine. Exhale, fold. Right leg back, lunge of choice. Inhale. Exhale. Arms down, plank pose. Chaturanga when you're ready. Cobra. Downward facing dog when you're ready. Take a couple breaths here just to reconnect and make sure that you're not moving too fast. Right leg forward lunge. And then left leg meets forward fold. Bend your knees, roll all the way up. Hands to me at the heart. Left side, arms reach up. Forward fold, exhale. Long spine, inhale. Full breath out as you fold. Left leg back, lunge of your choice. Inhale. Exhale. Plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Cobra. Down dog is where we'll stay and meet up. And then the left leg will step forward, lunge. Take an extra breath or two. And then forward fold, exhale. Bend the knees and roll all the way up. Arms stretch up. And then meet them at your heart. And then just pausing to take a little recheck in. So you can do this next part with or without a block. We're gonna start with the left leg, and I'm gonna have my block as a diagonal so that I can step from foot to foot. If you don't have a block, it's totally fine. So we're gonna do a little one leg squat. So I'm gonna take this leg out to the side, and I'm just gonna sit back and then bring the leg in. And as I bring the leg out, I sit back in my heel, but I wanna feel that left inner thigh rooting, okay? So here's gonna be our 1 minute time hold to do this, all right? Ready? Here we go. So I'm gonna sit back and then bring it in. So you're moving with your own pace, so it could be faster or slower. And of course, if you need a break, take one. So here are the things we wanna work on. Soft knee in that left leg. Make sure you're feeling this left inner thigh line, right? I don't wanna let the hip bow to the side. I wanna feel that I'm nice and steady as I do this. Keep your breath. If you need to hold your hips, you can. There's a slight little hip hinge. So I'm working both of my outer hips here. Keep going, we're almost there. You'll start to feel it very quickly. But stay with yourself. So as the pace picks up, you're still present, you're still feeling it. Oh, and then release. Nice. Take a moment, shake it out if you need to. Okay, inhale, arms come up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift to tabletop. Okay, taking that right leg, we're going to swing it back to a tabletop here. We're going to go internally and externally rotate. My hip point on the right stays down, and I'm just moving the thigh. So I've got to move my pelvis slightly to the right so I don't, again, lay into my left hip. I want to feel my core lift up. And as I'm doing this, I'm breathing a lot and just kind of loosening up this right hip. So start to imagine as you're doing this that your thigh bone is long inside the socket. So it's reaching out towards your foot. There's a lot of lifting up away from the floor, just as much as there is rooting down. If you need breaks, take them. If you need to double pad your mat, do that. Just kind of imagine ungumming that right hip, strengthening the outer left hip. Okay. 3, 2, nice. Bring that right knee in. Kickstand the left leg to the left. Straighten that right leg out to the right. I'm going to fold I'm going to use a little blanket here for me. We're going to go Parivasana. So we're going to, I like my foot up, to be honest. I don't like it down. So I like to let my hips turn. Okay, so you might want to block for this. We're going to take those arms out to the side for a moment. Let that left hip come forward. Let the right hip turn under. And then we're going to come all the way up and over into Parivasana. You can do neck release. Okay. So as you're ready, we're holding. And the longer you kind of stay in this pose, right, there'll be more sensation. You'll start to notice the fascial changes. So sometimes there's an ability to go a little deeper. So kind of feeling for like openness that starts to happen, or maybe new spaces. Remember, your arm can come down. I can hold on to my head. Lots of options. I'm reaching out to my right inner thigh line. I'm feeling that right hip tuck under a bit. Letting myself settle from this moving. Okay. Take another breath in and then slowly come up. Okay, from here, we're going to come into side plank. So it can be a left knee down side plank. So if you're feeling, you can kind of work the leg lift here without being in side plank. I can work full side plank and lift my leg if I want, or I can just hold side plank. Okay, here we go. You choose. Either stacked hips and you're just working the lift of the bottom hip, The stretch, maybe some of you are lifting one leg, kind of working that outer hip again. Again, maybe it's done with the knee down. So this is where it's harder to stay with yourself, right? Because the body's working. And although you might be focusing on the shape, this is where we can be sometimes like unaware of what shows up emotionally or anything. This is where my mind always wants to go planning something, so I have something positive or fun to think about besides the work. So see if you can stay with yourself. You're almost there. Strengthen something that maybe feels like it could really help. Okay, we have 5 seconds. Come out when you need to. And then bring your hand down. You can bring your knees down if you need to, or we'll walk forward eventually. Take that forward fold. Shake it out. Then you'll take that right leg back to a short stance of warrior two. We're going to go half moon. So we're going to put together that internal and external rotation we did with the side plank lengthening that needs to happen. Okay, paired with, oops, there it goes, paired with that lift, right? So all the things we've been working for half moon. So if we have a short stance, knee tracks in the center of my foot. I'll use the block. I'll lift up from the strength of my hip. From the strength of my left hip, I'm going to bring my hips towards my right, inside of my left foot. And we go. If you want to play with internal and external rotation to feel where it feels best for your body, do that. Even with the height, play around. And if you need to come out, friends, and come back in, that's totally fine. It's a long time. So it's not so much that you stay the whole time, that you're being present with yourself and that you can feel when your body says enough. And you can feel when it's just your mind that says enough. So keep breathing. Feel the strength of your core, right? That's that reach out of the pelvis. All that core work we did to bring the pubic bone forward, or the pubic bone towards the ribs. And you only have 10 more seconds. So breathe into it. Big breath, sigh if you need to. 3, 2, and then both legs down. Come all the way up to standing. And then just take a moment. You made it. So check in with yourself. Notice what that was like to hold those shapes, some of them dynamic, some of them static, and probably challenging. So if you've lost your sense of being with yourself or lost your sense of presence or groundedness, bring it back. And we just find it again. Okay, so here's the second side of squat. So note that this hip might be a little bit more tired and fatigued because you just worked the other side, which also strengthens. So again, I'm going to show you this time facing you. So I'm using the block on the diagonal. You could use 2 blocks if you need to. So I do bend this leg as I come out. I hip hinge and bring it back in. I want to find inner thigh of the right foot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start it. No, you don't have to do the whole time. But this isolated hip work is a really good way to build this outer hip strength. So find your breath and move at a pace that keeps it yoga, right? So make sure your butt goes back, the weight shifts to the heel as you abduct the leg. The leg's going straight out to the side. And I'm really firming my right inner thigh line. And if I need to stop, I listen to my body and I honor that. As part of that tuning inward, right, is that we know when our body gives us signals that says, I've gone too far. And then we can avoid pain and unnecessary suffering. Okay, we're almost there. You have 10 seconds. Keep breathing. Good. And then from this one, we step back in, step off your block. Nice work. Okay, take a deep breath, stretch your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift to tabletop. I'm going to pad my knee this time because that was tender. So we come to tabletop and then we extend that left leg back. And then we're going to internally and externally rotate the left thigh. making sure the left hip point faces down, and making sure the core is active. So I should be light in my wrists, and I should make sure that I'm not leaning to the right. So I do have to, in some ways, feel that right inner thigh firm. So notice what happens in your jaw, what happens to your breath. Stay with yourself. Tune out the noise and focus inward. Even if it's difficult, because the move is difficult. Stay with your breath and stay with your presence. And here's your last 5 seconds. So where can you find a little bit more length out of that left thigh, a little bit more strength in the right, and then bring that left leg in. So from here, oops, we're gonna kickstand that right leg, straighten your left. I'll turn so I'm not facing away from you. So I'm right underneath my right knee, is right underneath my right hip. The left toes are out, and I'm gonna use a block for Parivasana because I like that. If you tend to lock your knee, you can put your knee underneath that block too, okay? So arms reach up, let the hips move slightly cockeyed, so right hip forward, left hip under, and go ahead. Remember, you can have arm up, neck release works, hand on hip, grabbing onto the face. So make sure again that you can feel that left inner thigh lengthening. Pad that knee if it hurts, if it's tender. Feel that whole right side body open. Stay with your breath. Let your neck tension dissipate. Almost there. By staying a little longer, notice there's any more space that opens up just from the stillness or the presence. And then slowly, when you're ready, come up. So this is our side plank hold. So left or right arm down rather. Remember, your right knee can stay down. So that can be an option if that helps you stay, or that helps you feel kind of that support of the outer hip and the lift of the right. So when you're ready, come on in. Remember, you can cross the legs, one leg in front of the other. You can stack the feet. And if I want extra, I lift and lower this left leg, or I hold it. But again, it's not really about if you stay the full minute, but that you're listening to your body, you're tuning inward, right? So that we're not directed necessarily by the external, but by the internal felt sense of what the body says, irregardless of my direction. So coming out and coming in is totally fine. Make sure you feel those hips lift, the strength of your outer right hip. You're almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2, and come down. Nice work, you guys. Okay, so it's gonna be half moon on the right. So from here, remember we come to a short warrior 2 stance. So that knee is in the middle of the foot. We want this back hip to work. And how we did that internal and external, I want you to feel that out, because there's a certain degree of internal and external rotation that's kind of personal to you. So kind of finding that and how much lift that you need. So as you're ready, come forward, find your side plank here, and lift off. And it's totally fine to have a bent right knee. Just please make sure your knee tracks in the center of your foot. That's one way we can do a lot of knee torque. So the knee is pointing towards the big toe and not outward. This is where the outer hip work comes in. So firm that right hip underneath, aiming it towards your left hip. Firm your right inner thigh. Lift up out of your pelvis, so feel your core turn on. And notice what degree of internal, external feels good for you and how much lift. So find the right height. Find your core, ribs pull down to the hips, and you're almost there. You have 10 seconds. So really work your breath. You've got this. And release. Nice work, you guys. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. You can come back to plank if you'd like. Chaturanga to your belly. Cobra. And then we'll take a child's pose. Kind of rinse through that. Nice work, you guys. Okay. So from here, I'm going to let you find a back bend of choice, and we're just going to do either one long hold or 3 rounds of a shorter hold, right? So it could just be Cobra. You can go back and work Cobra again. It could be anything that you want. It can even just be a chest stretch, but I want you to do something to kind of open up through the heart space, okay? To really take that breath into the heart. So your choice can be thigh stretch, or I'm sorry, chest stretch of any time. You can even just be binding the arms and sitting back. Cobra, okay? You have about a 1 minute for this. So it can be, again, multiple rounds or one long hold. But as you're doing this, I want you to really focus that breath and attention at the heart. Try to hold your awareness at your heart space for the entire minute if you can. So breathing and like allowing that prana through just your awareness and your direction of energy just to rest at the heart space. Keep going, you're almost there. Keep that presence at that heart space. Letting that healing of your awareness and your presence soften any tension around the heart space. Nice. Okay, one more breath. And slowly come out. Nice work, you guys. Take a moment just to pause, let that tune in. Okay, I'm going to let you take an inversion of choice. So that again can be a wide leg forward fold. So if that one feels good, it can be Uttanasana again. It can be a headstand or a handstand, shoulder stand or bridge. Once again, we're going to have a minute there to hold. So take your time. And I want this to be, again, that dropping of the prana down into the higher energy centers of the throat, of the head. So letting your awareness this time kind of drift to the spaces between the inner bridges of the nose and the eyes, so the inner eyes. So kind of breathing in and out to that space for the next minute. Letting your breath soften that space between your eyes. Letting it soften your neck. Move that breath now to the center of the brain. So imagining there being more space from the center of the brain to the periphery as you breathe. And then release. If you're in a headstand or a bridge, you can slowly lower your hips down. Nice. And we're going to cross the right ankle over the left. So in a figure 4. And take a moment just to bring the legs in and massage side to side to kind of iron out the low back. And then from here, go ahead and let that left foot lower. And then windshield your wiper your legs to the left so that your right foot is on the floor. So you might have to roll towards your left hip so that your left hand can grab the front of your right ankle and secure it down. So again, I might be more on my left side than on my back. That's totally normal. Okay, so from here, I'll let the right hip release towards the floor, but I keep the foot down. So it might be quite elevated as you see my hips are elevated. If I want more, I'll reach down and grab my left inner foot And I've got kind of a little bit more gravity to take my shoulder back and my hips back. So I get a little bit of a thigh stretch and a little bit of an outer hip stretch. And then just take some time here to settle. So feel like the back of the hips heavy towards the earth, the back of the shoulders, even if they're not touching, there's just kind of a sensation of allowing them to just kind of drape and hang wherever they are. And then a nice deep breath, sighing if you need to. And then 3 more breaths. And again, these can be open mouth exhales, sighs, kind of just really letting go of any tension around the pelvis, hip area. And then if you have your left foot for the quad stretch, let it go. Go ahead and let your legs come back up to center and then uncross. And just for a moment, just let your knees knock in and just kind of lengthen again the low back. And then your left ankle will cross over your right. Go ahead and pull the legs in and then move side to side as much as you want. Just stretch out the hips and the lumbar region. Nothing fancy, just kind of stretching these muscles that were activated. And then the right leg comes down, and then we let the hips flop towards the right. So that however far you need to go to let your left foot come to the floor. And then your right hand will grab and kind of press that ankle down. And then your pelvis and your chest kind of open towards the left, but only to the degree you can do that without releasing your foot. And this just may be where you stay with arm open, or you can reach in and grab onto that foot and lie back. And then we just let the body settle. So wherever there's tension, we see if we can dissipate some of it by maybe not trying as hard to get deeper. And maybe just breathe through the kind of the tightness or the energy that might feel more dense. Just kind of resting your presence and awareness somewhere in your body or on an aspect of yourself. Maybe it's just the emotions that come up or the thoughts that you're witnessing. I have time for myself. There's plenty of time for me, and I'm worth the time to tune inward. Softening your jaw, your neck. Noticing any place in the body that you can sigh for the last 3 breaths, just to really release and dissipate. One more. And then slowly coming up, uncross, and then let the knees knock in. And then slowly bring your knees in so you can roll around, and then come up to a seat for a moment. And so you're going to take your right hand and close off the right nostril, and we're just going to breathe in and out through the left for a moment. So you have Yan Mudra, letting your thumb and index finger touch on your left hand. Inhale, exhale. Just out of the left. Kind of activating or kind of awakening the right, more imaginative, creative part of your brain. Enhancing your intuition. Part of you that doesn't really have to try, right? It's that part of you that speaks through your allowing. Smoothing the breath so that it's even inhales and exhales. And then just lower your right hand and take a moment to feel and sense yourself after this breath. We're going to do one more little kind of almost breath, but more vibrational therapy for the brain. So you're going to chant O-N-G, Ong, and you're going to really vibrate it up to the upper palate, kind of that top region of your brain. So it's going to sound like this. You're just going to go on your own timing over and over again for about a minute. You try and get it really high up in your brain, right? It's just gonna really clear out. Ong is that creative essence, right? That part that I'm talking about, your intuitive part. So when you're ready, at your own pace, ong it out, right? Ong up. Bring that energy that we've created in our practice and lift it up to the higher centers of the brain. Okay, so ready, when you're ready, go ahead. Just keep going. Doesn't matter how it sounds. It might feel strange. Just keep doing it. Lift that energy. Keep your awareness there. The very top of your brain. Really try to vibrate it. Last little bit. One more. And just pause and notice. Like a tuning fork to your brain. And then when either stay seated or roll onto your back and just take in this final bit of space for you. And as you take this time in, again, just allowing yourself the space that you need to connect to you, to let your energy fill your awareness, so that you can attune and respond to emotions, to thoughts, to sensations that call for your attention. And before you re-enter the rest of your evening, just noticing if there's anything that your awareness has picked up on that you need or that is relevant to take into the rest of your evening or for further reflection. And we're in that eclipse portal between now and the 13th. So it's such an important time to have all that space for these new kind of insights, ideas, revelations, awarenesses to come through. So if there's anything that came up, just allowing there to be that space for that. Otherwise, bringing your hands to meet at your heart and bowing towards your practice, towards our community, towards your ability to come and make this space for yourself. What an important practice this is. So take a deep breath in, sigh it out. The light in me honors the light in you, friends. Let's Om one time together. Deep breath in. Thank you for practicing, friends. Hope you have a sweet rest of your evening, and I hope to see you on